All right, we're gonna get going.
Heather's coming on too.
Yep, she's here. Nate just signed on. All right. So here we go. All right, so welcome everyone to today's topic, which is expanding and maximizing your sphere of influence. So here we go. And go. Next, there we go. All right, so what is your sphere of influence? Your sphere of influence is all the people that you interact with personally and professionally. So this could include any number of people, whoever you kind of feel like you know, like, and trust that would have an interest in helping you build your business or could help you build your business. Don't discount, a lot of people just think that this means friends and family. It doesn't. Vendors, like your accountants, your electricians, plumbers, anyone that you pretty much write a check to could be a good sphere of influence for you. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking of your sphere and building it. Managing your sphere. So once you've identified your sphere of influence, you need to nurture and expand it to your real estate lead generation. So we'll talk about that a little bit more in the next couple of slides. But this is kind of just the initial steps of what you want to get done. You want to explain to the folks of what you're doing and how you're doing it and how they can help you. And then the idea is to get the folks to refer you to friends, family, and kind of whoever their sphere of influence is. So it's kind of that 6 degrees of separation. I know someone, they know at least 6 people, and hopefully now you're in their network. So how to expand. So this is for the agents on the call that kind of already have that business network and not so much the new. This is kind of the next steps after you do the basics, which we're going to talk about mostly in this PowerPoint presentation. But this is for the experienced agents that, have either a real estate specific industry or in another job or another career that you can kind of build off of. So what you want to do is you want to create an intricate B2B system, just business to business, for those of you who don't know it, with the current database that you have. So you want to strengthen those relationships with the contractors you use, the vendors you use, and the accountants, electricians, the people that are in your corner that want to see you succeed, because a lot of them have a financial reason for you to continue to succeed. So the more they can help you, the more you can help them, and it kind of just grows in that philosophy. So it has a potential to double your lead generation efforts and also builds you a really strong reputation in your community. So these are things that, if you haven't done the basics yet, we're going to go over the basics of what you need to do, steps 1, 2, and 3. But this is for the agents that have already done the basics. Now this is kind of gearing you to the next level of your career. So wanted to make sure we threw a slide in about that. So as you're thinking of these things, think of your next steps as well on how to now enhance your sphere of influence. So going to some stats, why do we want to do this? Well, this is to get your referral business really booming. So as you can see, 42% of sellers who use real estate agents, they found these agents through referrals. So that means that the bulk of business that's being done on the sales side is through referrals. So you don't want to be missing out on that. This is how you build that referral base. 82% of all real estate transactions actually come from referrals. So that's buying and selling. Think about that. That means everyone else is fighting for, roughly, doing my math here, that's fighting for the rest, which is a really small percentage, under 20%. So you're looking at 18% is fighting for the rest of the business. If you get that referral, it also has, which it wasn't in the stats, I believe it was around an 80% more chance that you're going to get that lead. And you're going to be able to convert it to a sale. So referrals are very strong. They're the least amount of work generally, and you get the most amount of gain for it. And it has that rewarding relationship of turning that potential or that referral into a potential referral source after you're done with them. So 88% of buyers and 82% of sellers say they would recommend and use their agent again. So what does that mean? You want to make sure you are killing it for your clients, because they will become your biggest referral source if they really like you, because they're going to talk about their experience with you. They're going to write recommendations, reviews, They're going to tell everyone who said, oh, hey, I saw that this is a great process for you. You know, get into your house, tell me more about it. They're going to talk about it, and they're going to talk about you as their realtor. So you want to make sure that you're taking care of all those people, you know, to the best of your abilities and just going above and beyond for them, because they will help you in the future. All right, so action items. What are we going to do? How do you do this? How do you turn them into, how do you expand your sphere of influence to get them to start recommending you? All right, so the first one is you want to create. So you need to create the list. So if you don't have the list, you want to make sure you start one. So these are people, past clients, as we just talked about, are a huge source. Doesn't have to be real estate related. These are people that have done business with you that, you know, would know, like, and trust you and recommend you. Family, friends, your barber, you know, any PTA things that you're involved with, kids, coaches, attorneys, CPA, networking groups, past colleagues. The past colleagues is an interesting one because they're going to love you or hate you. So, but if they can give you, if they hate you and they can give you a good referral or recommendation, then that's obviously going to be a really good thing. So, because even though they hate you, they'd still use you as your realtor. So that's kind of a cool thing. So any of these things just kind of jog your memory. So you want to create the list, and you don't have to put down thousands and thousands of people on this list. You want to probably keep it. You want to keep it to, you know, around 100. If you don't have a list, just try to get 100 people that you know or you've dealt with or you can think of, and put it down on your list. Second item, action item number 2, is you want to get a CRM. So do your research, find out exactly what you're looking for your CRM to do, and then start developing it. But step 1 is to get one. And it doesn't matter, like if you get one right now, and then you want to change it because it's really not doing what you're wanting it to do, futuristically speaking, you can always change it, but you want to get the CRM because then you can download the files off your CRM now, and it's a lot easier to just transport it into a new CRM. But step 1 is to getting it. I mean, I'm sure some of the more experienced agents that, you know, try to do a CRM later on in their career, it's a lot harder because the data import is so much more expansive. So you want to start as soon as possible with the CRM. As if you say here, and maybe JT or Colleen will have you step in and talk about Realty Juggler. It's it's an inexpensive one. As I said, it's about $179 for the year. The first 3 months are free, and it pretty much does everything you need a CRM to do. So I don't know if you guys want to talk about that real quick.
Yeah.
Yes, no? Okay.
I can. I'm sorry.
Yeah. All right, JT, yeah, if you can. I know you've been using it for years.
Yeah, I've actually been using it for maybe 12 years now. I highly suggest it. I mean, it's like having your own personal secretary. You can put all your clients in there. Um, it basically it's basically everything that you need in for your real estate to make it go much simpler and much more organized. So you'll never miss something where, oh, I forgot to call this person, because you could easily set it up. There's a small learning curve, but once you get used to it, it's going to be very simple. So I highly suggest it. And if anybody has any questions on it, you could call me directly. And even if you try it, they give you 90 days free. And then I think they give you maybe another 2 months or something. I can't remember. But if you need help going through it, I mean, I'm very good at it. I've been using it for 12 years. So I could guide you through all the different steps, step by step. I have no problem with it, whether you're on my team or not. So I'm more than happy to help anybody use it. I promise you, it's definitely worth the $179 every single year, because it's tenfold.
Perfect.
So, all right.
Thank you, JT.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter what you use. You want a CRM because it's just going to organize your data for you. And there's a lot of things you can do, like simple, email campaigns and whatnot. So different CRMs offer different options. So depending on what you want it to do for you. But we are highly recommending everyone get a CRM of some sort. If you don't want to spend any money on it yet, Excel spreadsheets, it's very labor intensive if you want to do it, and it doesn't do anything for you. You still have to do all the work as far as like, mail merging and whatnot. But CRMs, are really, they're worth it. They're worth your time. They're worth, doing it up front, spending the little bit of money to get it. So that way you can have all these campaigns set up for the long term. And as, you get more and more, excuse me, data and, clients and different spheres of influence, this has all place for organizing and keeping it all straight. So as I said, input your data. You want to get at least 100 contacts at first, just so you can kind of get kickstarted. Anything more than that, if you don't have, this started, the 100 contacts, it's not too overwhelming and it'll give you a good start. So
real quick, what I like about it is like there's an all tasks thing. So say you have to follow up with someone in 3 months and you took notes on whatever you had a conversation. You're not going to remember that they just had a baby named John, or you're not little Johnny. So the next time you contact them, it comes up on your drip, whatever, all tasks, what you need to do for that day. It's like, oh, you're supposed to touch this person 3 months from now, and then you do, and you ask how little Johnny is. It's like it's a good memory keeper. But on the flip side, they think that you do care, and it just helps aid in you showing it. So I definitely recommend it.
It helps that, for that authenticity type feel of them really thinking that which is going to be great long term. So if you can remember those little details, it's great for the long term relationship build for sure. All right, so that's the CRM. So action item 3, you need to make contact. All right, so making first contact. What do I do? Well, first, you get to tell everyone that you've started a new career and you're planning to build your database with referrals. So this is really important. Number 1 step is making contact with that list of 100 people or whatever you end up putting down, because those are the people that are in your corner. They're the people that you already have a relationship with, that know and like you. And, now you just get them to trust you within the real estate sphere, and they're going to start sending you people. So, a good suggestion, and this is a Buffini tip, is send everyone in your database a letter via snail mail. Now, I would advocate for handwritten letters because they're more apt to open and read them. And that would be a good, but if you have crap handwriting and you really don't want to do that, a nice typed letter and signed at the bottom would do just fine. But you want to let them know that you're in business, you're in real estate, and that you want to work primarily on referrals. So again, tip is use your new company letterhead and put your business card in there. And you can actually include 3 business cards, because then they can easily hand it out to some people. What you're doing here is you're just kind of getting the basis out. You're saying, hey, this is what I'm doing. Thank you so much for taking the time to read this. And you're setting that expectation that you're going to keep in contact with them and provide them valuable information moving forward. And then always say at the bottom, oh, by the way, I'm never too busy for your referrals. So that's just kind of it gives them 2 or 3 points that, hey, I'm looking for referrals. I'm looking to build my business. I'd love it if you could help me out. Since you've been in my corner and you're a trusted advisor, I really would appreciate that. So that's the first step. What do you say in this first kind of contact? After you sent out that letter, you want to follow up with a phone call. We always stress the importance of picking up the phone, because you can say a lot more, and with the tone and the projection of what you're trying to portray to them, just by picking up the phone and calling. You want to call them and make sure that they receive the announcement, and let them know that you're excited to be in business. And again, oh, by the way, I'm never too busy for any of your referrals. So your excitement and your enthusiasm will sell them. Even if you've never sold a property before or done a deal, just being excited with the fact that you're in. I mean, JT can probably speak to the excitement level of when, people get their license. It's an exciting time, and you want to be up on that, and you want to be getting kind of invested in that. You want them to get invested with your excitement level as well. So if you're excited and you're saying, hey, listen, I'm really excited to start this great career, and I would really appreciate any help and any referrals you may have. If anyone's looking, I would love to help them out, that's going to get them automatically engaged with you and what your process is. And they'll, as it says right here, enthusiasm, I'm sold on myself. So if you're enthusiastic, that means you're believing in yourself. You're sold on the fact that you can do this job and you can do this career. That's going to portray to the people you're talking to, and they're going to be sold on it as well. So another key point is you want to make sure that they don't already have a real estate professional that they're exclusively referring to. Some people have, their uncle who's been in it for 40 years and that's who they're doing. So this will just help you prioritize what you're trying to do and accomplish. But, so that way you're not following up with someone that is not going to be sending you leads on a consistent basis. You still want to keep in touch, because then obviously if their uncle retires and they need a new person to refer to, well, now you might get their uncle's referrals and you might get their referrals as well. So, you definitely want to keep up with them, but, you want to change your script when you're talking to those people. So there you go. What do you say? So, Colleen, did you want to jump in and say any more about this slide? Because I know I can show them. We have a Buffini slideshow. We're going to show you actually that we just, in the document center of your resource center, just before we get to kind of some stories of how referrals have really worked out and whatnot, and how they kind of went about it. We're going to show you just real quick where you can find a slideshow similar to this on the resource center. So let me just get that open. I need a new share.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's ultimately just kind of looking at your database, who you're really close with, and seeing if you can add value, and not even for asking anything in return, but like just see if you can add value. So if someone's, still renting and should possibly be buying, you share them about the interest rates. Or if someone, my cousin who's overdeveloping her house, clearly she had money to play with. So I was like, Emily, have you ever thought about investing? And so she's now looking at investment property. So it's like, I'm sending my family, I'm trying to recruit my whole family down here. So I'm sending them all, they're all in drips, sending them properties comparison of like what you can get in Mass is nothing compared to what you can get in Florida for the same amount. So they're all like shocked, and they're seeing my face and they're branding. And then I ask, hey, I can help anywhere throughout the United States because of the company that I belong to. So please don't hesitate to let me know if anyone else is looking to move. So it's all about just constantly chirping in their ear.
No, you want to stay top of mind. So that's really what it comes down to. So those 3 action items are stuff that you need to do immediately to start getting that sphere working. And then moving forward, there's 3 more steps that will give you probably in 2 weeks to after you've kind of developed your sphere of influence and started putting it down on and made the initial contacts. But this is where we go to, this is a new section that, well, it's not new, but it's something that we're utilizing right now. So in your resource center, when you sign on, here's the home screen. Can everyone see the home screen? So yeah. I can see it. Yeah, okay, perfect. So right here in documents, so you have the corporate documents that you can, that corporate has put out there, but now we have our own office documents that we've started utilizing as well. So Colleen's worked hard on this list the last probably few days to a week here. And it gives you our preferred vendors list. So names, phone numbers of local inspectors, lenders, and whatnot. So you can kind of go right here and get it. But down here, this is what we're talking about right today. And this is actually the Buffini book that's designed to help you do it and build your contact sphere. It has a lot of great information. But we have all the things loaded in here. So we have the exclusive right of sale listing agreement. So if you can't get it in zip, or you're struggling to sign in, or you're in a place that you can't really get it, you can actually fill it out right from here. So
and just practice it too for new agents.
Yeah, and if you just want to go on and find a place to practice, you can go on and fill it out right here. So it's a really good tool. If you have any questions on using this, let me know. But we'll,
Bonnie.
So that's that. Hi, Bonnie.
Hi, is there a template letterhead that we can use?
There will be, yes.
No, there are, but there are in corporate. If you search exit template or exit letterhead, there's 3 different ones.
Yeah, absolutely. So now I want to back to this share. All right. So does anyone have any stories that they want to tell about how referrals have really helped their business grow? Don't be shy.
Yeah. I know Kim wanted to speak.
You're on mute if you do want to speak. So I can tell you right now, I can go first. I have, so I'm part of a networking group. It's called Business Networking International. It's basically a group that just meets once a week. I'm the only realtor of the group, so there's no one else that can sit in that seat. There's a CPA, there's, you know, attorneys, there's insurance people, whatever, but you can only occupy that one seat. So the thought process is that top of mind process. So I've been in BNI for 9 years in different chapters throughout Massachusetts and here. Just joined this one March, right when the COVID shut everything down. So we moved to Zoom and we've been meeting weekly on Zoom. So it took me about 4 months or so, but then the attorney of the group actually ended up referring me 3 clients, and that was the tone of, I think, about $1.2 million in sales. So those are, if you work those groups right, you start developing those relationships. As soon as opportunities come to them, then they think of you, and that's what ends up getting you some referrals. So that was 2 listings and 1 buying client. That came from this one individual. And I can tell you that Kim does a really good job at working with her clients, and she's pretty much, I think you're 100% referral based, right?
I'm trying to go beyond that, but yeah, I have a lot of business that comes from former clients as well as, my sphere. Mm-hmm. And it's not, I'm not doing excessive cold calling or anything like that. I'm just really, really paying a lot of attention to everyone that I work with, and they'll send me their friends and family as well. So several years in now, I'm starting to spend money on things like marketing and leads, which I really have not done much of. I think we need to do some of it because it's a different marketplace, but I've tried to do very simplistic, just develop relationships. That's something that I've always done in my former careers. And people, like you hear it all the time, like, trust, and respect you. And if they do, they're going to call you, they're going to send their friends, they're going to come back to you if you've done a good job for them. And they do say every couple of years, people are making a move, either a bigger house, smaller house, out of state, in state, or they've got a relative or something they're trying to convince to come in. So I've had a couple of clients that I've bought and sold 2, 3, 4 different properties, sold their land for them as they trust you, sold, townhouses, bought other houses that you're in reconstruction on. And you really can have a very robust business from that. Now, that said, we don't know what's ahead of us, so we have to constantly keep the momentum going. And the only way you can do that is to continuously reach out to those people and also seek out new people and strangers. So that's it's a well-rounded kind of machine that you have to operate in this marketplace. So
yeah, and I think to that point too is as your business grows, you always want to think a little bit futuristically. So right now you might only have 100 people you think are in your database, so you might not think that a CRM is right for you. Well, say out of those 100 people, 25 of them end up being a good referral source for you, and they start referring on. Well, it's also just as important to contact those 25 every single time that there's a transaction done with one of their referral sources. How are you going to do that? So you want to always think of that futuristic path of how to make sure everyone remains in the loop. The more contact points and positive contact points you have with the people, the more they're going to refer to you, because they think they're helping you with your business. They are helping you with your business, and now they're getting credit for it. They're going to want to continue to help with you. So if you don't have that CRM in place, then they're going to get lost in the shuffle. And I'm guilty of this just as much as anyone is, especially now that, in my mind, like when we first got started, I was like, oh, I can remember everything. No worries. It's not a problem. And then all of a sudden, people start asking me, oh, did that referral ever work out? Or did that, the person I sent you, did you get a chance to get in contact with them? And you're like, oh crap, I forgot you even sent that to me. So, getting organized with your data, understanding where and who and how, it's going to do a couple of things. One, it's going to keep it easy for you so that now you just have that kind of there tracking for you. But also it's going to just keep the ball moving. So you don't have to worry about, oh my God, who sent this to me? Where did it come from? Whatever. Putting those processes in place is just going to make your life a lot easier. So I recommend a CRM as your first step in this action plan here.
Also, in addition to that, like once you have that all settled, I think it really is all about just like exceeding expectations. So when you do have a client, really just going above and beyond. I was referred to someone from an exit agent from Minnesota, and I imagine more people will be moving down once jobs, or you don't have to stay where you are. But I went above and beyond for his friends. It was a wife and husband, and I moved them down here, and their mother as well. And I was so like keeping him in the loop, and like, hey, like we're under contract now. And, hey, like this is like it's closing, and so he says like excited as much as I was excited. And then he's just the other day, now he thinks like I own all of Florida. He's like, are you out of Orlando? He's like, I got another one for you. And I was like, no, but one of our agents is. So it's just like it's cool we have that connection, and so you really can just get referrals kind of from exit agents and family and friend, anyone really. And I think it really is just about doing a really good job and staying in touch. So.
But they have to know constantly. You have to keep it in front of people. And yes. So I'm guilty of not finding the perfect CRM yet either, although those are systems you've got to put in place. Mm-hmm. For me, it's more of trying to find the time to actually sit down and do it, because I have to go backwards. From, and I'm guilty of trying to keep a lot of that in my head, which is not always ideal. So things will slip through the cracks. And so what I'm focusing on now, I mean, I've had a very strong first 6 months, thankfully, because I'm injured at this point. So I've got to step back a little bit, but I've got, my next couple of months plans is to basically try to get some of these things more established and set in place so that I can continue to go at the level that I've been going, and then some. So if you keep in your mind when you're doing your numbers, and I think this is especially helpful for a new agent, and we have a very solid couple of brokers in our midst, and not only because they're my family, but because I have a lot of respect for both of what they're trying to do and they've been doing. Rob said to me way back when I first started, you come into real estate and you sort of think, oh, I've got to sell $1 million or I'm no good. And he said, most agents, what did you say, Rob? Most agents, don't sell more than 1 or 2 properties in their first year. Right. And that to me was kind of, oh, well, I should be able to do that. I mean, you can't live very comfortably on it, but you could certainly do it. And then I learned that if I could sell a property or a multitude of properties that would be up to around, I think it was 300, a month per se, consistently, then I was going to be bringing in, I think it was around $60,000 a year. I was going to be capping out at my previous broker and all that sort of stuff. And of course, your opportunities are greater here. Then you start thinking, well, what do I need to do to double those numbers? Or, and what processes do I need to put in place? And what things like you're getting on a consistent basis from Rob and Colleen and JT and everybody in this group, what kinds of things do we as a team do? Even if we're not a direct business team, we are a corporation of sorts. And you've got all of our mutual, whether you've got 6 months, 2 days, 6 years, 15 years, 30 years, I mean, you can merge all that with Exit and with this company and find the resources that you need to help build your business at the pace that you're comfortable in building it at. But I found for me, just having simple little things like that, you know, that would put it in sort of a perspective. Oh, well, if I can sell, whether it's 3 condos or 1 house or whatever it might be a month, then I'm going to sustain my income and I'm going to be able to pay my bills. So I don't necessarily need to have a full-time, you know, or a part-time or whatever job on the side. This is enough. This is sufficient. Right. I can build on that.
Right.
So.
Yeah, thank you. That's actually really good advice. So appreciate that input. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff with what you just said in that statement. So, so
especially about the brokers, right?
Yes,
yeah, that's my favorite part.
That was probably the best.
I'll send your bonus check to you later.
It's about time.
So ending with the action plan. So the action item number 1, just to remind you, was create. So you want to make sure you develop your list, but action item 1 and 2 kind of go together. So as you're creating, you don't want to double work yourself. So create that list, but input it into your CRM. So that way it's all kind of combined. So 1 and 2 kind of go together. So we'll make 1, get your CRM, set it up the way you want to do it. And then 2 is create the data points of people that you want to put in and get at least 100 in there so you can start working off a decent list. And then your action item 3 is start making contacts. And what that means is, write that letter, explain to them that you're in the industry. I would also add a second piece to it. If you can think of it and you have some time, send your mobile business card after you sent the letter as well. So that's 2 points for you of contact. And then the third one is to call everyone in the sphere that you sent the letter to and follow up with them to make sure they received it. And let them know that you're looking to build your business off referrals. So those are the 3 kind of action plans. Yes, Bonnie. I know my counting skills are horrible and that's more than 3, but.
No, that's okay. If you're in a team, can 2 people use 1 CRM or do you have to have your own?
You don't have to have your own. That depends on what the CRM's capabilities are. So some CRMs have the ability for 2 people to utilize it. As far as Realty Juggler goes, I'm not sure. But, I guess the only problem with doing that would be how is the signature lines and what email it's coming from and all that stuff. So whereas I know what you're talking about, I don't think there's going to be a problem with that team dynamic. So I think you'd be fine using 1 CRM and combining both.
I think they have an extra charge if you have a secondary one.
It depends on the CRM. Some CRMs like Realty Juggler, I don't think there's the capability of doing a team thing where you have multiple people that have access and it's the team leader that kind of runs it. But something like Boomtown or one of the more robust CRMs that also includes the websites and all that stuff, they definitely do have the team capabilities where you have 1 team leader and then you can have several team members that all have their own different access type.
But definitely reach out to them. They're really good. Their customer service is just out of this world. So if you call them, you could always ask. They'll pick up the phone. Like they're incredible.
So we're at 12:33. Bonnie, I'm gonna hang out and answer any of your questions. But if anyone else needs to hop off the call, you can feel free to stick around if you want to hear what my answers to Bonnie's questions are. But otherwise, have a great week, everyone.